I one of the things that seems to be an unfortunate legacy of the 2008 crisis is um, that the people who perhaps were seen as having risky credit were almost vilified and blamed, blamed for, they were initially blamed for the subprime mortgage crisis, even though I now know there's very different interpretations of what caused that, as you know. But is that linger? Because even in terms of the reaction to the kinds of initiatives that you're trying to put in place to make it easier for people who don't have good credit to buy, um, what's the pushback you're getting, and what's the response you have?
I'll first say that buying a home is one of the most complicated financial transactions that many, if not most people, will make. When you think about the documentation that a borrower has to supply, the process that you have to go through with, getting an appraisal and the underwriting process where everybody always needs more information and getting to the closing table where you've got to sign all these documents because it's the biggest asset that many people will own. And so just having a good understanding of what you're doing, what are the financial ramifications and impacts on your household. It's more than getting a house, it's staying in the house. And that was one of the larger lessons learned in the 2008 crisis, where people had loans they didn't understand, loans they couldn't afford, and they were more focused on getting into the house. And we're more focused on getting them in, but keeping them there. Because we saw in 2008 a record number of foreclosures, people getting in their homes, losing their homes because they couldn't make these balloon payments or the interest rates change, which made the payments change. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just quite difficult. So really enhancing understanding of the responsibilities of owning a home once you get it, making sure that you've got some reserves for the hot water heater or the refrigerator or whatever can go wrong, I think is really important. And that goes to, financial literacy, but specifically, what does this mean to a person who buys a house? What is the financial obligation long term? And so we are really trying to focus not just on the affordability, but on the sustainability. And so one of the things that I'd say in terms of pushback is when you think about the amount of money it takes to have a down payment, that's really important. But a lot of people have down payments, but then they don't have savings after they buy the home. And so just trying to figure out what that trade-off is between having more money down versus more in reserves, so that if something happens after you purchase the home, you can actually fix it without disruption to your mortgage payment. And so again, I think that it's a real great opportunity now with all of us in place who really care about people who don't understand many of these transactions. One, how to purchase the home, and two, how to stay in the home, and three, if you get in trouble, what options do you have? Because that again can be complicated. And so
Right.
we just think that the home buying process is important. We're focused on, financial education and financial literacy in this regard, and also just working with counselors and others to make sure that people understand this huge financial commitment that they're undertaking.
And I want to get to a little bit about you, but before that, I want to ask one other question with regard to your predecessor. Does it make a difference which administration is in charge for your role, given the oversight nature of it? Does it feel like a more apolitical role, or does it really make a profound difference who's in charge?
So we FHFA is an independent agency,
Right.
and I've worked for at FDIC. I mentioned I worked there 23 years. I worked for both Republicans
Right.
and Democrats. Here at FHFA, I worked here for 10 years, and I just really have the blessing of being a career civil servant who got an opportunity to serve as the head of an agency. So I've worked for both Republican directors of FHFA and I've worked for Democratic representatives or heads of FHFA. And I can tell you what they care about. The one thing that is consistent is that, again, this public confidence and just making sure that we're meeting the mission. That was true, in 2013 when I got here. There was a fire. People were very late on their mortgages, and we had all kinds of loss mitigation programs like HAMP and HARP. It was true in 2015, where we're still trying to figure out why people had not refinanced, that had these really high interest mortgages with high interest rates. And it was also true during the pandemic that what every director has his or her own priorities, but at the end of the day, we are public servants, and we all take that oath very seriously. I know I do. And so, again, we really want to work with the public to make sure that people have safe, decent, and affordable housing. And I think that's true during my experience at FHFA.